This is Ag Matters PM from the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network, brought to you by the Iowa Soybean Association, your daily recap of the information that affects Iowa's farmers, producers, and consumers, right here in the heart of the heartland. With reports from our award-winning broadcast team of Dustin Hoffmann, Riley Smith, and Mark Magnuson. Now, from the IARN studios in Des Moines, here's Dustin Hoffmann.
Well, good day, everybody, and welcome to Ag Matters PM from the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network. I'm Dustin Hoffmann. Today is Friday, September the 23rd, 2022. We're so glad you could join us. Coming up in today's show, I take a ride in a Gator that's driving all by itself. We'll also take a look at your ag weather outlook, but first, let's run down those markets. It's time now for the Ag Matters PM Closing Market Summary, your source for market analysis and settlement prices from the day's trade in Chicago, courtesy of the folks at agmarket.net. Well, we're done with another week of trading, and it's time to talk with Brian Splitt of agmarket.net. Brian, what did we see come out of today's trade?
A lot of pressure all around, really driven by, I think, primarily some major currency moves. The Euro is trading below 98. That's the first time we've seen that since 2002. That has the U.S. dollar index trading well above 112, close to 113, which is substantially higher than where it was just a couple days ago after the Fed announcement of the 0.75 point rate increase. We've got the Dow taking out the June lows. The S&P and the NASDAQ are very close to testing their June lows. And with that, we saw weakness across the board in a lot of markets. Crude oil trading below $80 a barrel now on the front month contracts. It looks to me like we've got a head and shoulder topping pattern in heating oil. November heating oil below 309 would potentially confirm that. I think we've got a head and shoulder pattern lined up on lean hogs in the December contract. I've been talking about the weakness I think could develop if we see these lean hogs below 80. I think they'll go to 71. We've got a double top in the December live cattle. Those highs were made about almost exactly 5 months apart. We're right at the uptrend from the May lows there, and any additional weakness next week, I think, takes that contract to 144. And then you've got the grains here with a lot of volatility this week. Double top on Dees corn, made a high on the report at 699.5, a high this week at 98.5, taking out last week's lows at 667.25 is going to be negative. That should take us down to 640. And this bean market, I tell you what, we haven't had spot beans below $14 a bushel since January when we got through 14. And I think if we see November collapse below 14, especially if we're below 14 after the quarterly stock report at the end of the week next week, so that's Friday, we're going to see some significant weakness develop there. So a lot of pressure all around.
You know, in a situation, whether it's when we have grain under that kind of pressure, usually livestock is able to take advantage, but that macroeconomics, situation with the dollar going higher is just not giving anybody any positive news right now.
No, it's not. The live cattle's held in pretty good to the start of this downturn, but I think we're starting to succumb to some of the outside market pressures there. You may have noticed I said head and shoulder top in a couple different markets. Another one is the feeder cattle, October, November, very clear head and shoulder patterns there. And that has some additional downside yet. And I think it's going to be difficult for live cattle to rally any further if this feeder cattle market's going to break and meet those objectives. But, you look at some of the cold storage numbers, we've got a lot of pork. We're not exporting it. This dollar move is going to continue to cause some concern about future exports of all of our products. And we've got an awful lot going on in the world right now. And one of the things I've really been trying to advocate for producers that are not in the mood to sell, and I don't know why. I mean, you've had futures near $7. You've got extremely strong basis out there right now. I think that's something to take advantage of. But if you're not going to, then you should carry puts. That's what they're for. To protect the downside when you don't want to sell. And especially with all of the macroeconomic currents right now, I think it's foolish to not have puts under your production if you're not going to sell it.
And I was going to bring that up, what their options were to protect if this were to keep going, because, we don't want to say that everything's going to go back to the way it was 3-4 years ago with prices, but anything can happen with, especially in the economic situation. But where do they go if the situation is that they don't know exactly, like for instance, here in the Western Corn Belt with the drought, we don't know for sure what we're going to have to even have options on, do we? Or how do we make that work?
Well, that's the whole point of the put. right? So the put allows you to set a floor while you are determining what your production is. Now, the difficulty may be matching up, well, how many puts do I need? What if I don't grow the bushels I think I'm going to? But the whole point of that is that's why you're not selling it. That's why you're not selling it physically. That's why you're not selling futures. You are using the put as some kind of a protection plan in the meantime while you figure out what those bushels are. So, we can identify what levels the chart needs to hold and what levels, if we break through on the chart, is going to lead to just additional selling. So when you have the funds right now holding not a super long position in corn, but it's not a small long position in corn, over 200,000 contracts, they're very susceptible to liquidation if we see outside market routings. So again, we've been advocating 670 puts here, especially when we were higher earlier in this week, $14 to $14.20 bean puts for the same reason. Because if you take these levels out, it doesn't really matter why, and the technical selling develops. And I think you could see corn and beans move lower than they really should if it's driven by outside markets. And we saw that in 2008, where we had corn go to $8 and then it was at $3 come fall. That's a rather large move. It was exacerbated by the conditions that were caused in the outside markets. Now, are things going to be this bad that bad this time around? Who knows? But at the levels that we're at right now and the cost that it took to grow this crop, I think you have to be smart about it and have protection under it.
All right. Well, a lot of great advice, Brian. If folks want to talk some strategies and what they can do to weather this storm, how do they get in touch with agmarket.net?
The general line is 844-4AG-MARKET, so 844-424-6758. You can reach me directly at 815-665-0463, and check out the website, www.agmarket.net.
All right, Brian, thanks so much. We'll talk to you again soon.
Thank you, Dustin. Appreciate it. Have a good weekend.
That again was Brian Splitt of agmarket.net. Let's look at the closing numbers, courtesy of the folks at Bar Chart. December corn was down 11.5 at 676 3/4. March down 11.5 at 681 3/4. November beans down 31 1/4 at 1425 3/4. January down 31.5 at 1431 3/4. Soy meal for December $5.60 lower at 423.30 per ton. Soy oil down $2.78 at 63.68. Chicago wheat down 30 1/4 at 880 1/2. Minneapolis wheat down 28 1/2 at 949 1/4. Kansas wheat down 29 at 950 1/2. March oats down 20 1/4 at 399 3/4. December live cattle were down 80 cents at 148.55. September feeders down 7 cents at 178.12. Lean hogs for October down $1.50 at 92.62. Pork cutouts down 125 at 101.75. Class 3 milk was up a penny at 19.88. And that's been our Ag Market Recap. We're going to take a short break and hear from our sponsor, the Iowa Soybean Association and the Soy Checkoff. When we come back, I will ride an autonomous John Deere Gator. This is Ag Matters PM.
Iowa Soybean Association is driven to deliver for Iowa's 40,000 soybean farmers. We're proud to provide objective agronomic research, a helping hand with soil and water stewardship, and timely industry news powered by the Soybean Checkoff. Learn more at iasoybeans.com.
Welcome back to Ag Matters PM from the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network. I'm Dustin Hoffmann. Well, during the Farm Progress Show, I got to take a ride in a John Deere Gator, but it was driving all by itself. Now, there was somebody there to make sure nothing went wrong, but it was interesting to see a personal utility vehicle that can interface with the John Deere system, and you can be completely hands-free, especially if you're knowing where you need to go. All right, Farm Progress Show 2022 outside of Boone, and in fact, just outside of the grounds at the field testing area here with John Deere. We're surrounded by some Gators, and that's a good thing here, but tell us about this new machine we've got going on right behind us.
Sure, this is a Meyer 23 865. We have an update with an all-track ready option that we added to the 835, 865 model lineup.
All right, so we're used to auto track as far as with tractors, up and down the field. Helps us get that precise movement so we're not getting off track and weaving around. How is this going to be beneficial for someone who's going to be using the Gator? So
it's really beneficial for folks, especially in the ag community. We can use the same boundaries, same field maps that you use in the big ag equipment, and use it but for a Gator-sized job. So if you're doing spot spraying or you're doing field maintenance, you're integrated, and you can run the same maps that you would have in your field previously from bigger equipment.
Okay, so how easy is it? Let's say you're out there doing some work in the tractor and you see a big rock and you're gonna have to come out with the Gator. Can you map it on there so it knows so you can remember where in the world you gotta go?
Correct. You can mark it with any on equipment, and since we're connected wirelessly to it, you can bring it down to the Gator, and the Gator can go and grab it.
All right, and so as far as use, obviously there's still a steering wheel in there, so if you have to take control, but what's the ease of use and how easy is it to take control of it if you have to in the situation?
It's very easy and very intuitive. So, of course, AutoTrack is the auto steer, GPS guided precision steering. You can easily grab the steering wheel and let off the brake and let the throttle. You still have two options, right? You're still responsible for two things. One is throttle control and obstacle avoidance. And it's really easy to do by taking control of the steering wheel and it'll automatically disengage and return it back to normal operating.
All right, so we're going to be taking it for a spin and seeing how it goes, so I'm excited to do that. John, let's go ahead.
Let's do it.
Okay, so we're getting her set up right now, John, getting it all lined up. So tell us exactly how this is working and what we're accomplishing right here with the screen.
So right now we're getting it really set up. It's reacquiring the satellite with the 7000, and then the monitor is pulling up the GPS path we're going to follow. So it'll take a few minutes here.
Okay, so tell us a little bit about that new GPS system, that 7000. I know that's new.
That is new for Model 23 this fall.
Okay, and that'll be for any of the equipment, whether that's the tractors or anything, right?
Correct.
Okay, and it'll interface just fine, nothing really different. It's all the same basic system.
It is correct. I could take off this one, put the 6000 on, and you wouldn't know the difference.
All right, and so like you said, we just have to give it gas once it's acquired where it needs to be, and we get to going.
So here, we went ahead and pulled up the GPS map and path, and we'll go ahead and acquire the line.
Okay.
And I'll highlight here. There it is. You can go ahead and we'll hit resume switch, and we're on.
All right, and it is going on its own. And so, like you said, though, if something happens, you can just get a hold of the wheel.
Correct. So you grab it, and it kicks up.
Okay.
Yes. And you resume and apply.
Oh wow.
I will tell you, it's an odd feeling in the beginning.
Yeah, it is a little bit. When you're, especially if you're in the driver's side, passenger probably doesn't. And it even warns you that there's a curve ahead. Too.
Yeah.
I like that.
So it is speed limited for turns. Like we'll make a 90-degree turn here. So you're not going to blaze through it at 10 miles an hour, but you're definitely going to slow down for it, and it kind of gives you a heads up. And it's really no different than on the current system today. Yep. But like, it kind of gives you that notification.
Now, let's say you're out here doing Gator activity, but someone else is in the field with another tractor that's got GPS as well. I mean, are they going to interface and say, "Hey, look out, the tractor's coming"? I mean, obviously, you would see the tractor, but
correct. No,
it's still going to help you avoid, right?
That'll help you avoid,
okay.
But like you're still responsible for maneuvering around that.
But it gives you that safety feature as well, I suppose.
Right.
Okay.
So what we'll do here, we'll make it 180 degrees.
Not even touching the wheel. And then sitting in the passenger seat, I can say that if I didn't know and wasn't able to tell, you wouldn't know that someone wasn't driving it by themselves. So where was it decided, kind of that the need was there for something like this?
We were approached from farmers in Ohio who really wanted, they had a spraying business case. They had a bunch of pre-immersion spraying they wanted to do like weeks before it was dry enough to get in the field. And they really wanted to use their Gator, and they were buying up a lot of ag management system equipment and wiring up their own AutoTrack system into Gator. And with some of the changes and updates we made back in Model 21, it allows this integration to be possible with the ePass module. So we were able to do it this year and fit it in our portfolio to get it out for that use case. But with that use case, you end up getting much more options that they kind of get used for and find another use for the tool for this size of machine.
All right. And of course, if people want more information, again, we said go to their John Deere dealer, right?
That is correct. You want looking for the AutoTrack ready option for your utility vehicle.
All right, well, John, we thank you so much for the ride.
I appreciate it. Thank you for coming out.
Well, John, it was a great time coming out here, giving it a ride, and seeing what it can do. Really going to be an interesting scenario for those who are going to be able to take advantage of that. Where can they find out more information? Because I believe you said this is going to be for next model year, right?
Correct. It's coming out for Model 23. Definitely go to your dealer and start asking about the AutoTrack ready option for your utility vehicle.
All right, it's John Davis with John Deere here on the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network. Let me tell you, it was definitely an interesting experience to be in the Gator as it was being driven around. Not used to seeing something just do it on its own. It was definitely a fun ride, and look for them to be coming out here later on this fall. Now, let's take a look at that ag weather outlook. Well, as you know, Riley loves the days that are like 85, 90 and sunny and warm and ugh. These are the days I live for, cold, rainy, and cloudy. I'm in my element today as most of the state seeing some shower activity, light showers here in Des Moines, but cloudy and definitely cooler, definitely starting to feel more and more like fall out there. But we're going to have a little bit of a warm-up come up in the weekend. Not a huge one, but just a little. Let's see what the National Weather Service has for the next 24 hours. Again, it was a cloudy and kind of dreary day across the state, definitely a lot cooler. We saw those temps today in the mid-50s to the low 60s. Now tonight, those clouds will start to decrease in the west. There'll still be some lingering showers, though. Lows will be in the upper 40s to the mid-50s. And tomorrow, clouds will give way to more sunshine gradually across the state. We'll see highs anywhere from the mid-70s to the low 80s. Taking a look at the affiliate weather map, we'll see Cherokee tomorrow sunny and 75, Shenandoah sunny and 81. Des Moines and Albia both going to be sunny and 78. Waterloo will be partly sunny and 76. Clinton looks to be partly sunny and 74. More detailed forecasts in your area. Tune to your local Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network affiliate. And that's been our Ag Weather Outlook. And just like that, we're at the end of today's show. You can find all our content online at iowaagnet.com. You can also log on to Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, TikTok, and on our YouTube channel. Or don't forget to hit the thumbs up and the bell icon so you can be notified when we post new video content. You can also find our free twice daily market podcasts on Amazon, Apple, Google, Spotify, and Podbean. From the IARN studios in Des Moines, I'm Dustin Hoffmann. For Riley Smith and Mark Magnuson, we thank you for watching. This has been Ag Matters PM.